Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Cody Vondell, and today we're going to break down my latest design kit. So I just released my Dorfic kit over on Etsy and Patreon. It's jam-packed with futuristic vectors and a Photoshop file with 9 pre-made designs. Dorfic is a term coined by Kari users. The acronym stands for Daylight, Orange, Red, Futurism. This style is particularly memorable for me because all the way back in the late 2000s, early 10s, some of the friends in my small design circle, not a big thing, just some of us, we noticed this trend. We were kind of referring to it as citrus, just based off that bright orange, kind of futuristic, fresh vibe. I actually had an old internet band back in the day called Vivid, and the other guy in the band actually wanted to call our first EP Citrus. I didn't want to go along with it, but imagine if I had. That would have been pretty cool. So we decided to go a totally different way for that EP, but it was definitely on our minds all the way back then. So it's actually pretty cool to see such a niche style making a comeback now. It's a really fun style. I really enjoy, bright orange, vibrant yellows, so it works out perfectly for what I like. And before we hop on screen to get started, just want to shout out the Discord server. We have an amazing community over there of artists, musicians, creators sharing their latest works, memes, free assets, works in progress, all types of cool stuff. If I haven't seen you over there, I hope to see you there soon. Hey guys, just wanted to mention, I don't do any kind of channel sponsors, so if you'd like to support the channel and the work that I do, make sure to hop over on Etsy for all of my design kits that I use on screen in my videos, as well as all of my merchandise like stickers, pins, patches, shirts, and more. You can also show support over on my Patreon, where you'll get early and exclusive access to the work that I'm doing. Your support means the world. Thank you guys so much. With all that being said, let's hop on screen and break down this brand new design kit.
All right, we've got the vector kit open and the Photoshop document, 9 different designs ready to go. We're gonna remake them in widescreen. So let's go ahead and start selecting some of the vector pieces we need to make this very first design. And we'll duplicate that background. I've copied out the layer style with the gradient. We're gonna be playing with a radial gradient and a linear. So we're just gonna go ahead and get both of those and get started with our shapes. So we're gonna use this shape right here, recolor it a little bit. So sometimes I use Photoshop, sometimes I use Illustrator for coloring. We're gonna be kind of going back and forth and just kind of seeing how things work. Gonna go ahead and recolor it though in Illustrator before I drop it into Photoshop. We're gonna change from that radial sunburst. Go ahead and get that named and get a second one that's horizontal, sort of like a horizon kind of look. So we got, a linear and a radial. Let's go ahead and drop that, that shape in, and it doesn't look bad. Let's play with some of the gradient overlays. We've got linear, radial, a few different ways that we could take this. That one's pretty cool. Not feeling the diamond. The radial though, I like a lot, so we might keep it. We might just leave it as is. The colors that we did in Illustrator work also. And we'll also grab one of these halftone patterns and drop that in, turn it sideways, scale it up some, rename these layers. And let's go ahead and turn that gradient on. It'll do something simple like that. I like that, it's turning out nice. First one's looking good. All right, second one down. Let's go ahead and pick out our pieces. So we're gonna use this little piece right here. We'll go ahead and use our horizontal gradient, paste that little vector shape in. We're gonna duplicate that gradient and just give it a solid white. Kind of go with like a 2/3 design, horizontal kind of layout for this piece. And playing with a like a Gaussian blur and a halftone. We'll put that up there in the corner, like a little sunshine or something. And a nice another, duplicate it and kind of put it down the other corner. Some nice symmetry going on. And also we'll grab these nice kind of flowing vector lines right here and paste them in. And kind of rename some of these layers and kind of figure out, what layers need to be in front of the others. Go ahead and get that gradient turned on. See how this might look flipped around. Just kind of trying to get it comfortable. Overall, I think we've got the design there. Looking good. Just got to rename a few of these layers. And I believe that's another one done. Let's get started on our third one. Some really cool radials. We'll go ahead and get our background taken care of first. Get these nice kind of flowing lines. Scale them up just a bit. And we're going to kind of copy out that gradient overlay layer and change the direction of the gradient. We might squeeze those vector lines kind of down a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab our radial vector. As you can see, we're going to be using the distort transform tool to just kind of give it that sort of 3D look. It's kind of at a really hard angle. Using invert to change from black to white. We will copy that, I think, and go ahead. There we go. Something like that's looking good. All right, let's go ahead and copy that. We'll throw our Gaussian blur on the copy. That way we kind of get this nice glow going on. And at this point, we can kind of play around with the direction of the radials. Something like that could work. And something like that could work. A few different ways you could take it. In comparison to that first one, it's a little bit different. Angle's not as hard, but still looking pretty good. All right, 3 finished. Let's get started on our 4th one. These are all really simple designs, but a lot of these things are simple, and that's kind of what makes them so fun to look at. The simplicity, getting that nice gradient, kind of the clash of gradients. Looking nice. Got our first little shape down. Maybe we'll grab this little kind of halftone and Gaussian blur piece, drop it in here. Turn our gradient on really quick. All right, now we'll drop it in. And we just gotta find that piece there. We've already used this, but we're gonna use it again. Nothing wrong with that. And something like that, just kind of figuring out the placement, how we want things to look. We'll move this halftone pattern over just a bit. Kind of feels like it's peeking out from beneath these 2 vector shapes. Get our layers renamed. Something simple, but it works.
Hey guys, also wanted to mention, if you like the background music that you hear, I create it all. You can find it, just search Cody Vondell on Spotify or your preferred streaming service. I also create royalty-free audio samples that you can use in your own original music. So make sure to go over to my Bandcamp and SoundCloud to check that out. And back to the video.
All right, on to our next. This one's really fun. Let's go ahead and grab halftone pattern. We'll drop that back there in the background. We'll go ahead and invert so we get the black to white, and we'll turn that opacity down. Next up, let's grab some of these nice flowing vector lines. I believe that is the one that we're going to use. Yep. And we're going to just paste it right in here. And we'll turn on the gradient. I think we'll leave it as is. That's definitely the one that we used on the previous version. Go ahead and rename some of these layers. And last but not least, a big old radial that we're going to drop in. I think it's this one right here. So we're going to paste it in at a nice large size. Invert the colors. And once again, use that distort tool, kind of play around with the overall shape. And we're just kind of looking at our first one, kind of just comparing what we already did with what we're doing right now, making sure we get something that's close. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but I think that's going to work. Making a copy, turn it on that Gaussian blur so we get a nice kind of a glow around it. And that's another one finished, looking good. All right, another one, very simple. Let's go and get that started. We've got that radial gradient in the background. Looking for the right piece. There it is. And we'll just paste that right in and kind of stretch it some. Turn on a nice gradient. Might play around. The linear works, I think. That's the one we were using. Cool. And we'll grab that little halftone pattern and Gaussian blur. Make sure our layers are all named correctly. And I'd say we've got another finished piece. Super simple, but it's looking good. All right, this one's really cool. Kind of a digital information, like a planet of information. I like this one a lot. So let's go ahead, find our 2 pieces that we're gonna use. grab these guys. We're gonna paste it into Photoshop. This gradient isn't working for me, so slightly different version than I've done over in Illustrator, just playing with color. So we're gonna drop that one in. And we'll also grab this piece, kind of change the color here in Illustrator as well, and drop it in. Looks like we're just missing a halftone Gaussian blur, so we'll grab that one, drop it right back there, scale it down just a bit, and we've got another one finished, looking good. All right, let's go ahead and grab this piece. Once again, we're gonna play around with some colors here in Illustrator before we take it over into Photoshop. Cool. All right, we'll rename that layer. Let's grab this little Gaussian blur kind of circle and paste that in right down here in the corner, looking nice. And we're gonna grab these little halftone bubble kind of looking vectors and grab those, paste them right in over here. Bring them up a little bit and rename some stuff. And I think we've got another one just about finished. All right, on to our very last one. Let's go ahead and grab that halftone with the outlines turned on. Turn that sideways, get it scaled up some. Get our gradient on, looking nice, kind of change to radial. And let's go ahead and duplicate that sunburst and bring it down here. So we got a white background on this one. Kind of scale it up just a little bit so we don't have any edges looking weird. All right, we're gonna grab that halftone, drop it in there, invert so we get a change of color, turn that opacity down a bit. And let's grab that great big radial and drop it in here. Similar to that other one, we're gonna drop it in real big. And we're gonna use our transform, distort a little bit, give it that sort of harsh angle. Gradient's looking good on it. Kind of looks like a giant disc, which is exactly what we were going for. So that's looking nice. We'll go ahead and duplicate it, turn the fill down, turn the stroke on. That's looking pretty cool. And then we can duplicate that, rasterize our layer style and give it a nice Gaussian blur. Forgot to rasterize it. There we go. All right, now we got a nice kind of glow going on in that background. And at this point, just about placement. Maybe we might rotate it a bit, kind of figure out exactly how we want it. But overall, I think we got a piece that's very comparable to the original design that we were remaking. And with that one, we have all 9 pieces remade in widescreen, looking good.
So that is my workflow when it comes to this style, taking some vectors from Illustrator, bringing them into Photoshop to set up the design with color. You can pick up the kit right now over on my Etsy. And don't forget to stop by the Discord, show the community what you've been working on. We're all stoked to see what you've been cooking up. Before we go, I gotta give a huge shout out to my patrons for making all of my work possible. Thank you guys so much. And with all that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing you over on the Discord server, and I will catch you in my next video. Thank you guys.
Thank you.